You can't solve a problem with the same mindset that created it. Einstein said this decades ago, yet most of us keep trying to transform our lives without first transforming our thinking. This is why you feel stuck despite all of your best efforts. So let's pull back the curtain on the real reason most people never actually transform. It's something much more fundamental that nobody's talking about. And once you understand it, everything changes. The invisible prison. Why? You decide to make a change. You're super motivated for a few days, weeks, and then you find yourself right back where you started. It's frustrating, right? Well, there's actually a biological reason for this that most people don't even know about. Your brain isn't designed for transformation. It's designed for survival. It's the unfortunate truth. And to your brain, survival means sticking to what is familiar. This isn't your fault, but understanding it absolutely is your responsibility if you want different results in your life. Why does your brain reward these familiar habits? Here's what's happening. Every time you think a thought or perform an action, your brain creates a neural pathway. Think of these pathways like roads in a living, dynamic city. The first time you do something, it's like walking through tall grass. Difficult and it requires some effort, right? But each time you repeat that thought or behavior, the path gets clearer and wider. Research shows that these paths, these neural pathways, become like highways in your brain. The more you travel them, the more established they become. This is why changing habits feels so damn hard. You're asking your brain to abandon the superhighway it spent years building and take this tiny dirt path that's covered in weeds and growth instead. Your brain perceives change as a threat. When you try something new, your neural circuitry activates the same way it would as if you encountered physical danger. Your brain makes no distinction between I'm trying a new morning routine and I might get eaten by a tiger. Consider one of my clients, Natalie, who I used to work with a lot, who struggled to really maintain her workout routine when it was new. And after 2 weeks of early morning gym sessions, she found herself hitting snooze repeatedly one morning, feeling an almost physical resistance to getting up. Her brain was literally fighting against this unfamiliar pattern, triggering a stress response to protect her familiar routine. Carly, another client I had, tried to transform her health like 10 times over the course of 3 years. She was my client once or twice, maybe 3 or 4 times, but sometimes she did it on her own. Sometimes she would go to a new gym. But in each and every time, she started with incredible motivation. But within weeks, she'd return to old patterns. Studies literally show that willpower alone fails about 80% of the time in habit formation. Carly thought she lacked discipline, but her brain was actually working against her. And this brings us to the comfort zone paradox. What feels comfortable in your brain is often keeping you stuck in life. Your comfort zone isn't actually comfort. It's not actually comfortable, I guess. It's just very familiar to you. And your brain chooses familiar pain over unfamiliar opportunity every time, unless you understand how to work with it. When you rely on willpower to make changes, you're asking that muscle to fight against your brain's hardwired programming constantly. And inevitably, it gives out at some point. Motivation and information are not enough either. You can watch every self-help video out there, read all the personal development books, listen to every podcast, and feel really inspired. But your brain still fights against you biologically. That's why you can know exactly what to do and still not be able to do it. People fail to make lasting changes because they're trying to override their brain's programming without understanding how it works at its base. You're literally fighting against their biology and wonder why they keep losing. But here's the good news, always a glimmer of hope. Once you understand how your brain responds to change, you can work with it instead of against it. Your brain's resistance isn't a flaw. It's a feature that kept your ancestors alive. It just happens to still be here with us today. When you know how to partner with these natural tendencies, though, that's when transformation becomes predictable and very doable. So in the next part, I just want to show you 3 specific mental blocks that are likely operating in your life right now, keeping you stuck without you realizing. So you can start to find these and seek them out and see when it's happening. So let's talk about the 3 invisible blocks. So what's really holding you back? What if the greatest barriers to transformation are hidden deep inside your mind from you, operating beneath your awareness? We often blame things like not having enough time, money, or support, but the real barriers are often just hiding inside your mind, operating beneath your awareness, and these are just the excuses that bubble up. In my work with many clients over the years, be it coaching or personal training, or even business coaching, and that they sabotage your transformation. These aren't things you consciously choose. Again, they're automatic processes that your brain runs in the background without your permission. Let me break them down for you. So the first invisible block is identity protection. Your brain will fight tooth and nail to maintain consistency with who you think you are, even if that identity is making you frickin' miserable. This is a biological imperative. Your brain is wired to maintain consistency with your self-perception. Consider my buddy Matt, also a client, but a buddy who tried to get fit for years. Apologize, I always go back to the gym membership thing. It's just it's one of the easiest examples out there. So Matt was trying to get fit for years, over and over. And yet he kept failing, not athletic since childhood. Whenever he made progress, his brain would send alarm signals. This isn't who we are. His motivation would mysteriously vanish. And the problem wasn't discipline or knowledge. His actions were fighting against his identity. Once we addressed his self-perception, his fitness journey started to transform. He stopped beating himself up all the time. Here's the truth. Identity always wins the battle against willpower. When actions contradict how you see yourself, transformation becomes damn near impossible. So the second invisible block, emotional regulation. This operates like a pressure cooker. This one is near and dear to me because I could not figure this out for the longest time. So when emotions build up with no release valve, they eventually explode in the form of self-sabotage. Oh my gosh, this one killed me. Have you ever noticed how your good intentions vanish when you're stressed, tired, or upset? I can tell you that this knowledge, again, was a game changer for me. I could never figure out why all my goals, my habit building, and my good intentions would go out the freaking door when I was stressed or got 3 or 4 hours of sleep the night before, had big stuff coming up, and I was just I couldn't keep it all in my brain. The fact is that research shows that emotional avoidance strongly predicts failed transformation. When we don't process difficult feelings, we use old habits, or we're stressed, all this stuff. We use old habits as coping mechanisms. The person wanting to quit drinking reaches for a beer after a tough day. The aspiring entrepreneur procrastinates when feeling overwhelmed. The dieter comfort eats when they're anxious. Most of us were never taught to regulate emotions healthily, unfortunately. Changing behaviors without addressing the emotional needs they fulfill is like trimming leaves, but ignoring the roots, ignoring the real problem. So the third invisible block is belief systems. These operate like invisible fences mapping the boundaries of your world. Step too close to the edge of what you believe is possible, and you'll feel a painful zap, pulling you back to safety. These hidden rules automatically limit what you think is possible, often formed in childhood or through difficult experiences as you were growing up. If you believe success means people will expect more than I can deliver, you'll unconsciously sabotage opportunities. If you believe I'm not worthy of success, you'll find ways to prove that belief right. The worst part, these beliefs feel like just how things are rather than opinions you've just adopted throughout life. Most people focus on surface level tactics, new diets, productivity hacks, morning routines, without addressing the 3 underlying blocks we just discussed. That's why 80% of us fall back into the old patterns. We have to figure out foundationally why this is happening. We have to get to the roots. So what sabotages your transformation? Identity protection, emotional regulation, and limiting belief systems. These are the real reasons why people stay stuck despite their best efforts. The good news? Once you see these blocks, you can dismantle them. Real transformation happens in this order: mindset shift first, emotional patterns second, and actions third. And most of us do it backwards, focusing only on actions while wondering why nothing sticks. Makes sense, right? Now that we can see these invisible blocks, let's talk about what actually works to overcome them. And we will be talking about overcoming these in many future videos. But in conclusion, to start this discussion, here's what separates people who transform from people who stay stuck. It's not about how much motivation they have or what they know, any knowledge. It's about the relationship with their own mind. When you understand these invisible blocks, you can finally start to see and break free from these patterns that have held you back for years. Real change happens from the inside out. Your mindset shift first, emotions follow, and actions then will naturally flow, like a seed breaking through soil to reach the sunlight. So start today. Look deeply at what's truly blocking your growth. I always say get a notepad, journal, let everything out that's in your brain, and start to figure out what's blocking you. Once you start to figure that out, then we can start to grow, and we're going to start to do that in upcoming videos. The path forward for you begins with a simple choice. Are you ready to break free and rewrite your story, or do you want to just stay stuck? Let's break free and stay tuned. Hit subscribe because we're laying the foundation for you to thrive with these videos. First, we have to understand and clear out this clutter. Then we're going to work on starting to build new habits and get a clear outlook for you and how you want your life to be. Then we're going to begin to thrive. This series from Life Next Level is going to take you through the whole process, and I'll be there with you every step of the way. So hit that subscribe button and don't miss a video. And hey, I also have another channel I just started called Rise and Thrive. If you're interested in just 3 to 4 minutes every morning of motivation, of getting outside your comfort zone to be successful every day, and to grow personally in life, it is a great counterpart to this stuff. Just 3 minutes a day, every day. So started that just here a couple of weeks ago. So stay tuned to that too. Hey, I appreciate you tuning in. I hope this video brought some clarity around why you may be stuck and some hope for the future that we can get unstuck, and we will. So stay tuned. Appreciate you. I hope you have a great day.